In my 4+ years of competing in CrossFit and Olympic weightlifting, I've had 2 pretty major injuries that have put me out for a good few months at the time, and a lot of small injuries that have just stopped me from being able to train and compete at 100%, which I'm sure you can understand is quite frustrating. In fact, most of you have probably gone through that yourselves. It can be pretty lonely, and not everyone knows how to tackle that the best that they can. Once you've had your injury diagnosed, it's often quite disappointing and quite heartbreaking hearing what the surgeon, the doctor, or the physio has to say in regards to you getting back to doing your sport the way you were before. They always generally give you worst case scenario, so it is really beneficial to find someone who plays the same sport or similar sport to you and has had the same injury or very close to the same injury as you, and find out how they came out the other end. It's extremely important to get yourself into a good state of mind or a positive mindset before you head into your rehabilitation head on. So finding out a success story, because they are out there, and then being able to understand how you can come out the other side, and maybe what the surgeon has said is not 100% how your personal journey is going to end. That will definitely help your headspace going into it. Despite what you have been told at this point, it is far too early to give up on the sport that you love doing so much. So don't do that just yet. It's really important during the tough time of realizing that you're not going to be able to train 100% for a while. It's very important to find out a safe way of continuing to move. There are direct correlations between exercise and your feel-good brain chemicals to help you through what sometimes will feel like a mild state of depression. Often that can be quite a tough task, especially if you're doing a sport such as CrossFit. Jumping into classes can prove to be quite difficult, as you have to sub everything, change the movements up to work around your injury, and sometimes it can feel like that's just too much of a battle. But rather than looking at the glass half empty, I can't squat, I can't run, I can't lift, I can do pull-ups, I can get better at pulling on the rig, I can get better at muscle-ups, I can get better at ring dip. You'll realize how lucky we are to be in a sport that literally has hundreds of movements that don't require both the upper and the lower body at one time. If this feels like it could be quite a tough task to do yourself, ask for help. That's what your coaches are for. Ask someone around you who can help develop a library of movements that you can do that don't require the body part that is currently injured. When I recently became injured, it was a little project I gave myself to grow a library every week of a list of movements that I could do that didn't use my knee. So not only was it a fun little project for myself, but it also was a really great way of measuring progress. Of course, frustration is going to kick in time to time, and that's completely normal. Often when that happens, I try to look at what is in my control and what's out of my control, and often what is out of my control is usually what is the most frustrating. So shift your focus to what you can control. One thing being your nutrition. Obviously, what you fuel your body with has a big part to play in how you recover and how fast you recover. So look at a nutrition plan. If you need to get help, get someone to help you. I got a nutrition coach recently because I wanted to stay accountable and I wanted to make sure I stay on track. So again, ask for help. Make sure you're fueling your body with exactly what it needs to be able to. In this process, everything is step by step, and those steps are small. So configure a strong rehab plan with your physio and even maybe your coach. There are other things that come along with injuries, such as imbalances, which you want to tackle head on earlier in the piece. Regain good movement, proper movement, and you'll find once you're out the other side of this and you can start rebuilding strength, that will actually come quite quickly. Remember, glass half full, set milestones, get creative, and focus on what is in your control.